hear this, mark this file.
Share it with someone you trust. They're waking up.
The world felt different. Ever since the observatory incident, nothing had returned to normal. Static interrupted their phone calls. Reflections in mirrors seemed slightly delayed. And at night, all of them, Emma, Tyler, Nate, and Rafi, dreamed of a place that didn't exist on any map. A cathedral made of glass and bone, humming with low chants in languages no one should understand. They hadn't been alone when they activated the beacon. Something had woken up, and now it was watching. Nate's military contacts had gone dark. Emma's online groups had been scrubbed, posts deleted, accounts banned. Rafi had lost a job offer from a research lab after being randomly flagged by an internal algorithm. And Tyler's laptop, the one with the stolen drive, had been wiped remotely, despite having never connected to the internet. But worse than that were the changes happening to them. Emma began to hear whispers in dead languages. Rafi could see bursts of electromagnetic energy with his naked eyes. Tyler, during one blackout, had written an entire page of symbols he'd never learned, matching diagrams from occult manuscripts in Emma's private archive. Nate's instincts, once trained for battle, now screamed with unnatural precision seconds before anything happened. They were becoming something else. The group retreated to an old safe house, Nate's last unlisted fallback spot, an underground Cold War bunker deep beneath a decommissioned missile silo. There, among dust and silence, they pieced together the little they still had. Rafi recovered part of the beacon's data using old backups. What they found wasn't just a signal, it was a trigger. Something ancient, wrapped in code, designed to activate dormant psychic frequencies in human consciousness. But not everyone could receive it. Only those who had been touched, either genetically selected or mystically marked, could hear it. And they were hearing it. Tyler mapped new coordinates buried in the signal. They weren't random. They formed a global web of sites. Emma cross-referenced those locations with her research. Ancient catacombs in Turkey, an isolated temple in Mongolia, and a supposedly sunken island in the Atlantic. Each one was a known place of lost rituals, places where contact with others had once occurred. But the files also spoke of a second network, one not built by humans. It was growing. The group knew if these signals kept activating, they wouldn't just awaken people. They would awaken something that had long been buried. And then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., the power in the bunker cut off. On the monitors, every screen flickered to life again. One word, blinking in red. WEARECOMING. Silence choked the bunker like dust in the lungs. The screens had gone dark again, but the message lingered in their minds, burned into memory. We are coming. Not a threat, a declaration. And yet, not all was despair. In the days that followed, a hidden layer of the beacon's signal began to unravel. Buried beneath lines of corrupted code and misdirected frequencies, they discovered a set of coordinates unlike the rest, off the usual ley lines, far from the ancient ruins and ritual sites. It pointed to a place none of them had ever expected, a defunct monastery in Romania closed to the public for decades, rumored to be cursed after a series of unexplainable deaths in the 1970s. Emma's eyes widened. She remembered vague references in a suppressed Vatican archive. The monks there were said to have preserved one of the oldest spiritual countertexts, a kind of weapon, forged not with metal, but with faith and resonance, meant to resist non-human intrusions. This wasn't just survival. There had once been a resistance. Tyler reached out to a darknet contact known only as Dome Watch, a faceless entity rumored to be part of a splinter group of the original Montauk engineers who defected when they realized what the experiments were really awakening. To their shock, Dome Watch responded, not with words, but with a file. The file contained two things. A map of forgotten access points to the Romanian monastery, and a manifest of test subjects once marked as rejected by the Montauk protocols, individuals too unstable to be weaponized, but too sensitive to be left free. Every name had been crossed out. Every name except for one, Rafi Singh. Rafi's breath caught. His father had served at a NATO lab in the 80s. He had always said there were secrets in the family blood, legacies better left unspoken. The group boarded a cargo plane under false documents. They traveled light. Tyler's tools, Emma's journal, Nate's sidearm, and Rafi's gift, whatever it was becoming. The monastery loomed over the Romanian cliffs like a wound in time. Ivy covered its stone bones. The door creaked open as if it had been waiting. Inside, candlelight flickered, statues wept black tears, and at the heart of the sanctuary, behind an altar of salt and copper, they found it. Not a machine, not a weapon, a choir, not of voices, but of minds. 6 old monks, silent, eyes closed, still alive, bodies kept in stasis by psychic resonance. They had been meditating for decades, forming a human firewall against the code of the forgotten gods. Each one vibrated with protective energy that shimmered against the darkness, barely holding it back. But the wall was breaking. The signal had grown stronger. Other beacons were activating. And now, the monks needed a replacement. One of them would have to stay. A sacrifice, voluntary, eternal. No one spoke, but they all knew. The choice would come soon. The monastery groaned under the weight of time and something more. Something pressing in from a world adjacent. A force that pulsed through the cracks in reality. They didn't know how long they had. The monk's song, though silent, was growing thin, like a signal too far from its source. Emma, scanning the walls for inscriptions, noticed something odd. Symbols that changed when viewed from different angles. Impossible geometries that shimmered just out of focus. She realized they were memory glyphs, ancient psychic recorders. When activated, they didn't play sound. They played thought. She placed her hand on one. A storm of images flooded her mind. A war not recorded in any history book, waged in the spaces between perception. Creatures that lived in probability. Priests who encoded prayers into light. Scientists who defected from the Nazis and Soviets not out of conscience, but out of fear that they had unlocked the wrong door. Tyler intercepted a transmission, encrypted but familiar. It was from a Montauk substation, active again for the first time in decades. The beacon in the desert hadn't been the only one. There were 12, each placed along specific spiritual fault lines, points where the human mind was most vulnerable, where old gods could whisper loudest. In total darkness, something ancient stirred. The sarcophagus groaned open not with a mechanical hiss, but with a low, guttural chant, like stone reciting a memory. The body inside levitated, its limbs limp yet impossibly poised, guided by an unseen choreography. The air thickened, time twisted, and each breath the group took felt like inhaling pages from a forgotten scripture. Tyler's tablet began glitching uncontrollably. Strings of code cascaded across the screen, then paused. A single phrase emerged, all in capital letters. "Welcome back, signal carrier." Emma stepped backward. It's aware. The being, once human, now served as an antenna for an intelligence woven through centuries of symbols, rituals, and frequencies. The forgotten gods had never been banished. They had evolved, embedding themselves in algorithms, in dreams, in the hidden architecture of thought. The monastery wasn't just a hiding place. It was a receiver. The being spoke, voice layered with tones both digital and divine. We were invited, not summoned. "What the hell does that mean?" Nate growled, weapon drawn. "You built the machine. You taught your children to pray through wires. And now," the chorus returns. The Montauk echo was never just noise. It was the opening act. The monastery wasn't the end. It was only the first pulse in a hidden sequence. 11 more remain, scattered across decommissioned black sites, buried sanctuaries, and redacted military vaults. If this video reaches 30 likes, we'll unlock the next chapter in the investigation. If you're still watching, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who senses something's wrong. And remember, some signals were never meant to be heard.